Now American 95, 10 miles out on the ILS.
American 95, Kennedy Tower, following Airbus 319 ahead, 1050.
Hello everybody, I'm DerTebbers. Welcome to your Flight Simulator X-Plane Spotlight. We are in Kelowna, British Columbia, aboard our Convair CV-240. This is an American Airlines livery, but I'll explain a little bit more about why we're in Kelowna here in a moment. Beautiful little opening. Watch the opening and closing of this. I'm going to close our main exit. Watch this. It's very slow, mind you, but look at that. I mean, folds. That looks like the perfect fold. The door closes. That looks absolutely beautiful. Why it's opening again, I don't know. Close. Stop opening. Close, I said. Oh my goodness, I've broken the plane. All right, let's see if we can figure out how to fix that. So shift 1, let's see, gen on, no smoking, okay, blah, 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 blah. Shift 2, there's our radio panel. 3, there's GPS. 4's a thing. Well, let's power it up and see what happens. We'll come back to shift 4. Shift 5. Ooh, is there anything that maybe we can use to open? So doors show that they're open. Door lights, okay. Okay, there's, okay, that's really cool. All right. All right. All kinds of important information for flight engineer, pilot, and fuel. All right, so shift 5. How do I close the doors? Well, let's start the plane. Look at that smoke. Oh, and now the exit's closing. Ow, that would make a lot of sense. Of course, you'd want to close your exit. Okay. I got it. All right. Let's put some flaps on this baby. Okay, that's not a lot of flaps. So let's add a little bit more. All right, we're good. All right, parking brake off. The Convair CV 240, 340, 440, 580. I know that's a lot of them, but they added a lot. It's an American airliner produced by Convair from 1947 to 1954. Initially, it was designed as a replacement for the DC-3. All right, I just revved the engines to make sure we were clear. We're good. I'm going to power up our 2 Pratt & Whitney R2800 CA3 double wasp 18-cylinder air-cooled radial engines. 2,400 horsepower each. What is that noise? Ah. Don't push it too hard. Okay, got it. She does not like this this whole turning thing. I want to go straight down the runway, please, plane. Good Lord. Featuring a more modern design with cabin pressurization, the 240 series was able to make some inroads as a commercial airliner, but it had a long development cycle, which resulted in a number of civilian and military variants, but it also faced some serious competition. Reduced in numbers through attrition, the Convairliners, as it's called, continue to fly in various forms in the 21st century, including out of Kelowna as a CV-580 as part of the Kelowna Flightcraft Air Charters, or Flight Charters, I think is what their new name is. Look at that, going in. Go ahead and retract our flaps. Where they still use the 580 as a... those flaps going in? They are. Okay. They still use the 580 as a freighter, and they also hold the type certificate for the aircraft. Oh, look, it's beautiful. Beautiful lake. The original design, the unpressurized Model 110, was a twin-engine low-wing model plane, all-metal design, 30 seats, powered by double wasp radials, tricycle landing gear, ventral air stairs for passenger boarding. First flew July 8, 1946. Now, by that time, American had changed their requirements to require pressurization and deemed that design too small. So, Convair used that prototype to create the 240. To meet the requirements for pressurization, it was a revised design. It's longer, thinner fuselage than the 110, accommodates 40 passengers, is the first pressurized twin-engine airliner. This is followed by the 340, which was even longer, had longer span wings and more powerful engines. That flew in 1951. In 1954, in an attempt to compete with turboprop aircraft, like the Vickers Viscount, produced a 440 Metropolitan with a more streamlined cowling, new engine exhaust, better soundproofing. As the Super 240 evolved into the 340 and the 440, the limit of the piston engine performance was met, and the future development centered on conversion of turboprop power. First delivery of the production Convair was to American in 1948. A total of 75 were delivered to American, 50 to Western American, Continental, Pan Am, KLM, Swissair, Sabena, and Trans-Australian Airlines. Additionally, a CV-240 was the first private aircraft used in the United States presidential campaign. 1960, he became president. John F. Kennedy used a CV-240 named Caroline after his daughter during his campaign. That aircraft is in the National Air and Space Museum. Now, this aircraft type was not without a few minor incidents. Okay, let's call them major incidents. The turboprop model had a small issue, or the aircraft as a whole had a small issue, where there were vibrations, and the vibrations could cause things to break. There was a famous incident of a Convair aircraft taking off out of Alaska, flying out over the Gulf of Alaska, which is a whole lot of water, when this prop right here decided it no longer wanted to be part of the aircraft and left. When it left, it of course ripped open the belly inside of the aircraft. That's a bad thing to happen to your aircraft. It also severed and crimped a bunch of control cables. The aircraft was barely controllable, but they managed to get the aircraft back, and by forcibly yanking on the control yokes, they actually wore through the aluminum understructure enough that they could get some control back, and they were able to bring the aircraft into a landing. Everybody survived, of course, but it was a close thing, especially when, you know, your aircraft gets ripped open by its own propellers. Kind of a bad thing. There was a Air Crash Investigates about that particular incident. Now, the link to this aircraft is in the description. They do say that this is Steam only. I'm running a non-Steam version of Flight Simulator. It seems to be fine with me. It does have hitches here and there, like right there, but overall not bad looking. All right, so Shift 4 is what we powered up. Nah, doesn't work. Oh well. Not a bad looking aircraft. I like it. I mean, it's easier to fly than the DC that I flew last time from these guys. All right, we're gonna try to land this thing back at Kelowna. We'll see about that. I'm also turning the engine, the sound up, because I want to listen to this aircraft. I'm going to go ahead and throttle it up to full throttle really quick and be quiet. I want to listen to this plane. Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. Now, the one thing I would say is that I don't see any like exhaust flames coming out of it. It's probably for the best. We did see the exhaust flames coming out of the DC, but that's all right. I like it. A nice aircraft. It's got about a 300 and well, call that a 250. 225 would be about your middle ground for speed. You'd expect a 2 or 3 person flight deck crew, 40 passengers. Your maximum speed is 315 miles per hour. That's 507 kilometers an hour. And your range is about 1,200 miles. That is 1,931 kilometers. So she's got a pretty good range on her. Now, this is a 240 model. You would expect a little bit difference with a 340, a 440, or a 580 model. But still, if you're looking for another classic bird, this is definitely worth it. In fact, the Cal Classics website that this comes from, they have a lot of beautiful classic aircraft on there. So it's definitely worth checking out if you are in need of some classic aircraft and don't want to spend the money for some of the payware equipment out there. So we're going to try to make a landing with this thing. All right. Ask for the wheels out. Do we have... Wouldn't expect parking brakes. Or air brakes. No, we don't. All right. All right, I'm expecting wheels anytime now. I have asked for wheels. Hello, wheels. Could really use you right now. Hello? Am I not slow enough? Okay, we're going down under 100. All right, so that should be slow enough. Oh, I saw him. There we go. I didn't press the button. Duh. Alright. So we got 2 green, 3 green. So we're good now. And we should be able to fly relatively easy approach. You're into Kelowna. Alright, it's saying we're a little bit low, but we'll be fine. Okay, we need a little bit more power. There comes that power. That looks beautiful, actually. That is a beautiful looking bird. We're right on the edge of stall speed right now. Just kind of wallows a little bit. I'd love to fly one of these. Fly in one of these. Not fly one of these. Nobody wants me to fly one of these. She have. She does not have reversing props. That's good. She shouldn't. There we go. There's our CV-240, 340, 440. The link is in the description as always. This is an absolutely beautiful looking aircraft from a very good design group. So far, I haven't found a single thing out of the Cal Classics group that I would not advise to grab if you are in the market for it. Especially because it's free, which is the best darn price there is. Love that sound. All right, so this is a Convair. We have ourselves a Convair, and we have landed successfully here in Kelowna. I've been DerTebbers. This has been your Flight Simulator Explained Spotlight. The Convair CV-240, 340, 440, 580. A lot of aircraft there. Basically, it's the Convair CV family. Till next time. Happy flying, everybody.
Almost 1283, Kennedy Tower. Greetings. Falling heavy, Boeing 767 touching down. Caution wake turbulence from 05012, number 24 right to the left.
Going in 48, that's 1283, copy all.
8 Lima Bravo traffic just north of the airport, opposite direction along the track routing. A helicopter not under defeat. Yes, you in sight.